Hello everyone. So I wish this was in happier circumstances. My eldest dog has passed, and I felt the need to come to my favorite graveyard to contemplate death a bit, and I thought I might as well take y'all with me. Kind of get my thoughts out to everybody. Now, I handle death differently than other people. I don't get incredibly sad. I might have a few tears. Even when my great grandmother on my dad's side passed, I found myself just looking at her dead body and contemplating. Other people, they reacted by, of course, lamenting, crying. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I feel like I've always been really close to death in general. I feel drawn to it, like that energy. I just want to understand it. I just want to help other people understand it. And this weather's kind of perfect for the subject matter and my current state. I haven't eaten today. I've been having some very bad digestive issues. It's very cold, very wet, and kind of muddy. A lot of those things kind of usually go along with the feeling of death energy. There's also a calming silence in the gloom, in the reflection of an aspect of ourself in the world that most people don't want to recognize. But yeah, I definitely got somebody to put her down at home. And, she was old. It was her time. It wasn't sudden. It was expected. It doesn't make it any less sad. But I did perform a little tiny ritual. I'm never really good with words necessarily at times like that, but I did do a little Hindu thing that Hindus do for on the there's this holiday in India, and for a lot of Hindus around the world, Nepal, other places, that it's called the Day of the Dog, kind of, and they basically worship the dogs that are in their lives or on the streets by giving them food, by putting candles in front of them, by giving them different things, and kind of putting flowers around their neck, because the dog is one of our closest friends, and they provide us with a lot of support and love, and Hindus understand that. So what I did when we were waiting, it was strange. She was laying by the door as if she was waiting for somebody, like she was waiting for death, like she kind of knew, though I don't really know how, but she knew somebody was coming. She just didn't know what it was about, I think, but a part of her probably knew that it was about time. So she was just laying in the same spot. She was really breathing hard, and I got a little bit of cum powder, red powder that Hindus use to mark the third eye, and other reasons too. But I marked her third eye, and then I put some oil on a little tea light candle and put it before and lit the candle, and I kind of knelt before her for a while. And just try to give her as much loving energy as possible. But it was when it was all said and done, she passed very easily. It was just a couple injections, one as a sedative to make her feel very calm, and then slowly fall asleep, and then another one to stop her heart, and it was all very peaceful. It was all very, and she was with the people that she loved around her, and we were holding her. So that's the best way I think an animal can ask to die, really. And that's how a lot of people want to die. I mean, who wants to die in a hospital or in a vet? If I was a dog, I wouldn't. But yeah, I just kind of puts me in a contemplative mood. I didn't really come at this video with any idea about what I wanted to talk about besides I just kind of wanted to vent some ideas about death and how I handle it. If any of you out there have a particular way that you handle death or how you react to it in general, feel free to let me know in the comments section, because I'm always interested to hear how people react to death. Most people react in similar ways, but there's a few of us who are just quiet with it and sit with death. And I don't hate death. It's just another part of life. It's a passing period. It allows us to evolve as souls, and I'm sure she was a really good dog, so she might even gain a human birth in her next life. Should have enough karma to purchase one, hopefully. She was a really sweet dog. We got her when I was early teens, and she was 13 now, so she had a long life. We went to the pound to pick out a dog to get as kind of a rescue or whatever. She when she was her turn to come into the room or whatever, she just like ran in the room and jumped on our laps and ran around, and she was really happy, and we were like, oh, we gotta take you home. And we never had like anything like a pit bull before. And she's a Staffordshire Terrier, which looks like a small black pit bull basically. But yeah, she was a real family dog, and she really kind of was like a mommy dog to other dogs too, and even cats. So she was definitely a good little soul, and she'll definitely be missed. And I often wondered, if I was to drop dead tomorrow, how would people remember me? And really, I've just been doing the best that I can with what I got, and trying to help people in whatever way I can with it, whatever insight that I happen to have. But I'm not too concerned about being remembered. I just want to advance along our spiritual path, our long spiritual path over many different lives. When se vi loa, when se vi loa, baron samedi. Le flick mama now, le flick papa now. There's a lot of ways that human beings work their way through times like this, through rituals. And that's not to say that they don't exist or they're not real. Those rituals are very much real. But rituals also aid us emotionally working through things like this. I was going to use something as an example because I remember there being a grave over here that had a lot of really just implements around it, like somebody had been working with it. If I can find it. It was like a little Catholic grave. This graveyard in particular has a lot of different kinds of graves, a lot of different kinds of people in it. It goes back to the 1850s, I believe. So it's seen a lot of spirits, and I've always felt a lot of spirits here. I've worked with a lot of spirits here. I've picked up a lot of paranormal stuff here. It doesn't have to be at night. It's kind of like a falsehood. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I think the stuff probably got moved. But yeah, I'd highly recommend spending time in graveyards and trying to just feel the energy there, see what part of yourself kind of gets a ping, and try to accept that part of yourself. Not just your capacity to die, but your capacity to understand death, and be okay with that energy. Be okay with that being part of existence. And I would recommend, don't always just go when it's sunny outside or when you feel great, because like I said, the circumstances are kind of perfect, because I've been having some digestive issues. Haven't eaten today. Didn't get a lot of sleep. Very wet, very cold. And of course, as we know, as I said at the beginning, had to get my dog put to sleep at home. So really, I'm feeling a really strong connection to, I guess you could call it the death current. A lot of people who describe themselves as being on the death current are trying to manipulate death. I've never really tried to manipulate death per se. I think of death as more of like an energy to understand and to work with, and to be a conduit between the living and the dead, because there is a certain frequency that death has that actually connects us to the dead and allows us to reach out past the veil and hold on to those individual spirits we're reaching out to, though it does take a lot of practice. And if you've seen anything in my rituals, you know that I've been doing this for quite a while. Today I just brought some Florida water and made a little pouring over there at the crossroads, one of the crossroads of this graveyard. I didn't really plan to do anything big today. I'm just trying to contemplate and work through my own thoughts about death after my eldest dog is gone now. But yeah, like I said, I respond to death a little differently. I'm very contemplative in response. But just think for a minute. There is so much activity around this graveyard. Like, it is like spot in the center of Denton, Texas. It's a huge graveyard, and there's just so much activity around it. And then on the other side, of course, too. There's my car way over there. There's just so much, and on the other side of the hill, there's a lot of activity. This is kind of on the top of a hill, which is actually a good spot for a graveyard. But so few people actually come into this graveyard and actually want to contemplate death. We get so busy with our lives out there on the outside of this area that we kind of forget to really consider it, and then it creeps up on us, and then it happens, and then we're just not ready for it, and we die afraid. And what I do is not to make sure I don't just die afraid. That's not why I do what I do. But I've been around death enough and worked with death enough and spirits enough to know that I most likely will not be afraid when I die. I just think that more people should come into the fence and give the dead some time, because they still exist here, and a lot of people believe that they exist here, still a part of them. So those people who believe that definitely should come in here more often. If you don't believe that, if you're atheist, then I understand why you wouldn't come in here. Though I did have an atheist art teacher who he would come here and he would actually sit in this graveyard and contemplate death and the world and the universe. He was a very good art teacher, very contemplative. But yeah, I thank you very much for joining me in my thoughts on this. Once again, I didn't really have an outline for this video, but I hope that you kind of understand a little bit where I'm coming from, and maybe give you some thoughts to contemplate yourself. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to end it here. Feel free to put down in the comment section below if you know how you. Oh, hey, what's up, Amethyst? If you have any way that you deal with death. If you deal with it by mourning a whole bunch, and then being okay with it, or it just sticks with you, a death of a family member or a pet, or if you find yourself more contemplative like me, or if you respond in a completely different manner that I have not listed. Human beings are very diverse individuals. There's as many ways to respond to death as there are ways to die. So yeah, just let me know, and thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a good one. I'm just trying to figure out how to actually end it, because I usually don't go live. But anyway, thank you very much for watching.